What's up guys, this is Carl from Monkey Mod. So today I have a very special package, a return Mk3 Pro Max gearbox from one of our customer from the US. So the gearbox reached him in not so ideal conditions. I think apparently the custom officer opened the gearbox and then something happened, and then yeah, it reached the customer in quite a horrible state. So let me just open it and show you guys. Alright, so let's first take a look at the gearbox, see what is wrong with it. So immediately you can see there is wire breakages. See these two switch? This is the jam detection switch. Both of the wires are dropped. See there? Right, on this side, there is wire breakages as well. This is the bolt release valve switch. Alright, that's busted, need to be redone. And here, the middle there, supposed to be a trigger switch, on off switch. Not sure where it went, but wow, this does look quite bad. Right, this breakages. Alright, so I need to figure out where goes where first. Something's going on here as well. I'm not sure what, but what's this? Okay, let's see. Gotta be really careful not to cut any of these wires accidentally. I'm just going to remove all these connectors. Oh yeah, before that I should do markings. Right. These are not the original cable tie. This is one size larger than the one that is supposed to come with. So, yeah. Alright, cable tie remove. Right, let's see. Whoa. Right, this is the fiber optics cables. Damn. Right, it seems okay. This is alright as well. Right, this is the anti-jam switch. Just gonna remove it first. Okay, now let's see. Alright, so this is the wow, I suppose you can call this a wire harness or just a connector. Now this two switch is for the anti-jam or the jam detection switch, right? So we're gonna fix that. But before that, let's see what happened here. I'm really curious what happened to this. I don't think this is applied out of the box. I see, some sort of a electrical tape, and obviously didn't really held well. Alright, we're gonna redo this. Alright, so first we'll deal with the trigger assembly first. We'll fix the broken wires from the solenoid valve switch and then the trigger assembly. So let me just remove the the solenoid valve switch. Solenoid valve switch. So the connection goes from these wires to one of these point. Alright, and then it goes to the trigger, the on-off switch here, there, and then the other end, which is this, goes to the other side of the solenoid valve switch. Right, so let's begin. Let me set the gearbox aside first. Right, so when you work with these switches, this really tiny switch, like, yeah, they're really tiny. You want to be careful not to overheat them while you solder them because it can actually melt the switch. They are not really that heat resisting, so you want to be really careful with it. Use adjustable temperature solder tools if you have it. Right, almost forgot about the heat shrink. Right, so this is the solenoid switch and also the trigger assembly on-off switch wire reconnected. And I will be heating up the heat shrink later on. Right, looks good. Right, this is now let's deal with the jam detection switch. right? Right, so that is the jam detection switch reconnected, and I have the Heatshrink inserted. Right, so this is how it's going to looks like when it's done. Right, so the idea of using the Heatshrink is to protect, well, to add a layer of protection to the very thin wires and the solder between, well, the wires and the switch. So once the Heatshrink is applied, at the very least, the minimal, when the cable, well, when the wire is actually pulled or something, it will be supported by the Heatshrink. Once the Heatshrink is shrunk, it will provide a little bit of a support. Let me show you. Gotta be really careful using a lighter. I should be using a, well, uh, hot air gun, but yeah, this is much easier. Right, so this is how it looks like when it's done. So you can see that the Heatshrink, well, I wouldn't say this is 100% guaranteed thing that it will prevent the wire from dropping, but at the very least, the Heatshrink will be helping to prevent that from happening. Yeah, this looks a lot more robust. Robust probably is not the right words here, but yeah. Well, makes me feels a lot more at ease when I handle this, well, this thing here. Right, so this is done. Right, and this is also done. Well, I can actually now reconnect everything and we can try it out. So before that, I do need to, well, this part I can't use lighter, so I'm gonna have to use a hot air gun anyway. Right, so let me just make sure everything is in order. Right, when you apply hot air to this particular heat shrink, you want to be really careful not to, well, overheat this part because these wires are held in by hot glues, and you do know what happened to hot glues when enough of a hot temperature is applied to them. So you want to be really careful. Right, so looks like this heat shrink is done. So you can see again, same thing. This heat shrink will prevent the cable from being pulled directly from the solder point. Oops, you can see some of the hot glue came off. But yeah, again, this is not 100% thing, but you know, at least it adds a layer of protection. Because once the heat shrink is cooled down, it will have a bit of a shape. Alright, I'm not going to do this first because I want to do this when this is attached to the gearbox. So let me show you. Right, so we got the gearbox back up here. So let's start by reconnecting all these connectors. Right, and we are all connected. Now let's put the switch back to the gearbox first. Right, the jam detection switch. So when you install this jam detection switch, make sure it is tilted upwards to your right side, meaning this way. Because otherwise, then sometimes this can cause the gearbox to malfunction, where your firing is not consistent. When you pull the trigger, sometimes it doesn't fire. And also, of course, do not over tighten it, because that will cause the switch to cease, and that will also cause problem. So yeah. Right, now the solenoid valve switch. Right, that is the switch installed. Now I'm going to use the hot air gun to now shrink this and to mold this heat shrink so that it faces downward. Alright, so okay, hopefully I don't break anything. Right, so this is how it looks like once the heat shrink is molded. Right, so this will help to direct the wire downwards here. That will help to manage the cables a lot better. Right, so and on top of that, I'm going to use a layer of electrical tape to stick it over here. Right, just like so that it adds yet another layer of protection to these wires, right? So when you accidentally dangle the wires, right, oops, right, at least now it is supported by this piece of electrical tape. Now again, this is not a permanent, not a 100% fix, but it will at least add another layer of protection to these very fragile wires. Alright, so I think we are done. Let's plug in a battery and see whether this thing actually works now. Alright. Man. Okay, here goes. Alright, no smoke's coming out. That's always a good sign. Alright, let's try. Well, safe should. Alright. Semi. Now that should prime the blaster first. Alright, works. Alright, looks like I fixed it. Let's try 3-shot burst. Okay, no problem. Let's try full auto. Alright, okay, I fixed it. Alright, so yeah. Let me now try and manage the cables, the wires. Alright, it's not a perfect job, but yeah. Right, so I think I fixed this gearbox. Right, now what I want to talk about is hold on. Alright, what I want to talk about right now is should you actually get a Mk3 Pro Max? Like, I just perform a really easy resoldering and reconnecting of the wires of a couple of the few wires that are really prone to breakage. And it's not really hard, provided if you have the tools, like, you know, a solder irons, and then all these alligator things that helps you to, you know, hold the things, you know, just makes your life easier, I suppose. And I also understand that not all of us have the luxuries or have the knowledge to do all this, to perform these tasks or reparations. So yeah, in my opinion, if you can't do what I did just now, which is a really simple wiring repair, I really don't think you should get yourself a Mk3 Pro Max. Perhaps you can consider the Mk3, the Mk3 standard, which is, well, a lot easier to deal with compared with the Mk3 Pro Max because there's more cables, more wires around. And also generally, the Mk3 standard is a lot more simpler just because it doesn't have the bolt lock features. So yeah, if you are looking for something fun, I would recommend checking out the Mk3 standards. But otherwise, the Mk3 Pro can be quite a pain in the butt. Let's just say that. Now, I say that because even the gearbox itself can be a pain sometimes, especially if it is your first time trying to open the gearbox. Now, out of the factory, QWK uses threadlocked, this kind, Loctite. I was hoping they were using non-permanent, but I think they used the more permanent type of threadlocks. So these screws you see here are most likely threadlocked, especially the top 3 screw here is threadlock, and it is quite difficult to. I don't have to wait. Right, a 2mm hex key. Right. Yeah, it is definitely threadlock. I can't actually open it. Now, well, that goes without saying, you need a really good tools. If you use tools like a shitty, I don't know, this type of a very low quality hex key, the chances of stripping all this screw is very high. Now, so even with the really good tools, you want to open this thing when they are threadlocked is close to impossible. And it's really, really high risk. Let's just put it that way. So you actually need this. Yeah, this is a Dremel Versa Flame, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is a blowtorch, a butane-based blowtorch. Let's see. I'm not sure you can see it, but let me turn it all the way up. Yeah. Wow, that's hot. But yeah, this is a blowtorch, and it is a necessity to open the Mk3 Pro Max gearbox for the first time. Because, well, unless you reapply the locked or the thread lock again, you don't really need this anymore. But for the first time you want to open up the Mk3 gearbox, you need this. Or at the very least, a solder iron that is capable to go above 450 Celsius degree, 400 plus, I suppose. And well, even then, it's not as good as the open flame like a torch gun. So if you have a solder, you can use the appropriate solder tips that's large enough to fit inside the screw, the hex screw there, and then you just put it there for like 30 seconds or so, just to heat it up hot enough so that the thread lock can be broken. But yeah, otherwise, I would recommend a blowtorch because it makes your life a lot easier. But again, you want to be really careful using something like this because obviously there are wires around the area that can be easily damaged while you use this. So yeah, I find it really, really hard to recommend the Mk3 Pro Max to just about anyone, unless you have this sort of technical skills and tools to deal with this gearbox. Now, the Mk3 Pro Max gearbox, well, including the standard one, is a very fixable gearbox. Everything here can be replaced. Of course, well, if you manage to break the shell itself, this is a 6061 heat tempered aluminum, whatever you call it. But yeah, it's CNC aluminum and out of a very sturdy material. Everything else can be replaced. All these gears, but so far we have literally haven't heard of anyone managed to break their gear sets here. The teeth rack on the what you call again, the plunger tube, yes, that did happen before, but other than that, the gear set is really solid. And the plunger tube, the piston itself, all the parts within are actually replaceable, and you can actually get spare parts from us. Well, we can order them from QWK directly. All this sensor here, this actually houses part of the optical sensor. This doesn't actually get spoiled, but this sensor, however, does. I replaced this from one of our gearbox, and it's a really easy fix. Like this entire optic sensor, including this connector and wire like this, is available as a spare part that you can purchase and replace. So of course, and that includes all these components that you're looking at. The chipboard itself, the trigger assemblies, all the switch, and this charging handle / dummy bolt thing. It's all replaceable. So yeah, but this is only because I have the skills to perform all these things. But otherwise, I don't think it's not an easy task to deal with this gearbox if you don't have the necessary tools and also skills. But if you do, yeah, definitely do get yourself a Mk3 Pro Max if you have been eyeing for one and is contemplating whether you should get it, because this actually is not really a complicated thing, because well, the complicated things are all within the chipboards here. The hardware and everything are easily replaceable. All this anti-jam, the jam detection switch, and this solenoid valve switch is all replaceable. That includes the motor as well, of course. But yeah, let me just demonstrate. Like say this. I think these are threadlocked as well, but yeah, they're definitely threadlocked. Alright, this is loose. How about this? I hope this is loose as well. Okay, this is loose. Right, so how about this? Alright, this grub screw is threadlock hard. Right? But oh, okay, works. Alright, that's cool. Right, so I've opened a lot of a Mk3 Pro Max gearbox, and most of the common places where you will be needing the blowtorch are these screws that locks the charging handle bolt to the gearbox, and also this grub screw. A lot of time I actually had to burn it for like 5 seconds or so just to get it loosened. And then these 3 screws are most likely threadlock, and you will need to use a blowtorch to mount the threadlock. And the rest are usually not as tight as the one that I just mentioned. Yeah, this is loose. Yep, loose. Alright, loose. Loose. And alright, this is a bit tight but still manageable. Again, you need a really good tools, high quality hex key to do this. Otherwise, if you strip any one of this screw, it's going to be a real pain in the butt to get it actually undone. Happened to me before, but yeah, it involved with a Dremel cutting this to remove the strip screw. But yeah, so for example, right, this screw here, right, this is definitely threadlock, right? So I'm just gonna demonstrate to you. Right, let's just set to medium gas. I'm going to burn this particular screw. Right, let's try it. Yeah, see? Now it's loosened very easily. So yeah, having one of this blowtorch, a high quality blowtorch, I might say, is going to make your, well, opening your Mk3 gearbox for the first time a very easy job. But yeah, so that's about it actually. Nothing too much. I just want to share with you guys how I fix this gearbox, because this customer returned this gearbox to us, to Malaysia, all the way from the US, just to get this fixed. And of course, we'll fix this for free and also ship it back to him free of charge. Right, I discovered another problem. You see, the charging handle is seized when it's going all the way back. Now, this is usually because of this rod here you see here. It's not fully inserted. You can see here as well. It's jutting out a little bit. So this is well, problem from the out of the factory. The assembler, they did not actually do a really great job assembling this thing. Yeah, quite disappointing for a blaster at this price point. So I'm going to fix this. See, ooh, this is a bit tight. Okay, I'm gonna have to use the blowtorch to, yeah. Right, see, you can see the screw with the white stuff. That's the threadlocks. Alright. So to tighten or loosen this rod here, just grab yourself a good clamp or what's the word? Plier? Yeah, plier. So yeah, see, it's loose. So I'm just going to tighten it. Alright, that should do it. Let's put it back. Now again, be very careful dealing with this particular grub screw, because if you feel a strong resistance, stop and use the use the blowtorch to break the threadlock first, because if this grub screw stripped, and can happen quite easily, it's going to be a really pain to remove that. Alright, fixed it. So smooth right now. Yeah, right. So the job is done. Okay, well, let's just give it one more try. Okay, safe. Semi. Alright, interesting. Alright, so do not freak out. Wow, I almost did freak out actually. But see, just now, alright, so when you have this problem, battery, everything is plugged in and everything, but you pull a trigger, nothing happens. And then what you did is, you remove the battery, replug it, alright, and then you pull the trigger again. Oh, it works again. Oh, it doesn't work again. So this is a problem, or rather a phenomenon that I mentioned just now. It's all due to this jam detection switch. You can see now it actually shifted a bit, right? It's supposed to tilt upward to the right side, but now it's actually tilted to the left side. So when this happens, the switch will not be able to do the job to actually tell the chipboard that the bolt is not fully sealed. So yeah, right, let me just demonstrate it really quick. Again, same thing. Battery plug in, pull the trigger once, it fires, right? And then you pull again, it doesn't. Alright, so this switch is the cause of this problem. So let me just use my finger to tilt it slightly to the right side, and then it should work again. See? So yeah, this jam detection switch can be a real, I don't want to say it, but it's a B word. You guys should know it. But yeah, that is why it is very important to tighten this switch properly, or just bypass it actually. I don't really need this switch to, well, but yeah, many of the problem begins with this dumb switch here. So just make sure that you tighten it properly. Right, but again, not to the point that it sees the switch. Right, so now it should be okay now. Let me just give this a few more trigger pull. Alright, no problem right now. Yeah, we fixed it. Right, and that's pretty much it. Actually, just want to rant a little bit about this Mk3 Pro Max gearbox, because yeah, I do agree with some of you guys that says for the price that you are paying, there should be better workmanship on the gearbox. And yes, I do agree. I agree very much, because it's a real pain when a customer receives the gearbox in a not so ideal condition, and then we have to do something about it. So we have reflected these kind of issues to QWK, and they say they will do something about it. So hopefully the next batch of the Pro Max will be better. Otherwise, I guess we at Monkey Mods, we're gonna have to be doing all this Heatshrink for you guys. Because yeah, we really hate when the gearbox reach the customer in a non-working conditions. So yeah, a little bit more effort and time needed, but we'll be happy to do it for you guys. But yeah, this is all I want to say about the Mk3 Pro Max gearbox, and whether you should get it or not. Well, basically after watching the whole videos, if you understand what I'm doing all this time, yeah, no problem. You are qualified to own a Mk3 Pro Max. A very funny way to put it, but yeah, I'm literally telling you guys not to buy this gearbox if you don't have what it takes to. Yeah. Until QWK made further improvement to make this thing a lot more easier to fix and stuff. Yeah, that is going to be what it will take to own a Mk3 gearbox without it causing you a lot of frustrations and also unnecessary frustration, basically. Yeah, that's it, I guess. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next videos.